Hi, today my persuasive speech is going to be over drugs in the community and how it's a developing problem. So this story hits close to home for me because about a year ago, my uncle ended up overdosing on cocaine. He ended up getting really dehydrated. He had apparently taken some the night before and ended up overdosing, and his daughter, my cousin, ended up finding him in his bed the next morning. So knowing that there's a drug problem out there really bothers me because I know that it can happen to anybody and it doesn't have a gender specification, sex specification, age. It can happen to anybody. People probably as young as 10 if they really had the chance to do it and if they really wanted to. So, the problem today is that too many people are getting hooked on drugs, and it's becoming a really bad problem because they're either being bought off the street or people that are abusing the prescription drugs that are prescribed by doctors, like Vicodin, other drugs such as that have a high dosage and are only supposed to be used in moderation or for really big reasons, like bad headaches or bad pain, but people will cut them up or smash them up and use them to snort and get high off of, and that can hurt you. So, it not only affects the people who are doing the drugs, but it affects people's family, their friends, because they get to sit back and watch you go through that and watch you destroy your life potentially, and potentially screw your life away, because if you're doing that, you don't care about your job, if you have one, and you could possibly lose your job because, who knows, you might get randomly drug tested, and if you're taking drugs, you can fail. So, taking drugs not only affects the people around you, but it affects your job. It can affect the economy because people who take drugs not only can be in high school or college or whatnot. If you're in high school and you take drugs, you might want to drop out. You might not even want to stay in school because you might want to start selling it or using it more and getting more people addicted. So then you would drop out, and that harms yourself because that could lose any chance you could have of getting a degree, getting your diploma, getting a good job. So it's more than just a big problem. It's more than just getting high one day. It can be a potential problem when you need to be high to get through the day, which some people get hooked like that. And my uncle was one of those people who was a closet drug abuser. He didn't tell anybody, nobody knew. So it's something that not everyone wants to admit because obviously it's illegal, but at the same time, people can see the warning signs unless you're really good at hiding it. So it can affect the economy because you aren't able to get a job, so you lose out on that opportunity, and the economy doesn't get the help or the people it needs to function properly. And a study that I found on WebMD stated that researchers noted that 27% of high school students drop out because of they smoke marijuana, and not only that, but 1 in every 10 students were addicted to prescription drugs, like Vicodin or Adderall even, that helps with highness from what I've been told. And it goes to support the theory that drugs and dropout rates are connected in some ways, because if you're doing drugs, you don't care about school, you don't want to go to school, all you're caring about is getting high or getting your next fix. So it's goes hand in hand with each other. Drug problems happen whenever and wherever. It's not a set time, not a set place, not a set person. It could be anybody, and it just depends on who's looking for it and what they're looking for. Some drugs are harder to get, I've been told, and some drugs are easier to get, like marijuana is easy to get. Other drugs may be harder. There might be a higher risk factor of buying them because it's more of a harder thing to get. So, but people who get addicted to drugs don't necessarily care how they get the drug. All they care about is getting it and getting the next fix. The only thing they could possibly care about is if they go through withdrawal. Then all they want is that drug, and they'll do whatever it takes, even whoever it takes, to get that. And that's why sometimes there's called prostitution, because people will sell themselves to get money to be able to support their drug habit. Possible solutions to me would be finding anybody who sells it and locking them up so that way they can't get anybody else addicted, or getting the people who are already addicted to any drug into a rehab center to make them, well, not make them, but to encourage them to get clean so that way they can live a normal life again without having to worry about where am I going to get my next fix, and focus on their future. And another thing could be make better and or more enforcement laws that will stop the drug selling, and or that come with harsher punishments, because who wants to suffer a harsher consequence? I mean, I wouldn't, so I don't know about other people. We could also offer choices of free programs to users to provide them with a safe way to become clean again. No matter what you do, it's going to be hard to become clean again. So it's a catch one dozen the other, pretty much. And personally, for me, I would make better law enforcement laws and or harsher punishments, because it would it could not only help fix the problem, but it would maybe even get more drug dealers off the streets and less people addicted, because who knows, one person could get 50 people addicted, if not even more. And then each one of those people eventually down the line could even become a drug dealer themselves, which it's a chain link reaction. Not only that first person can be just the start of getting hundreds to thousands, maybe even millions addicted to drugs and selling it and making it even more worldwide epidemic. I feel that people would be too afraid to go to jail for a long time by getting caught with drugs. At least I would be. Then again, I would never do this. But if someone didn't want to go to jail, maybe it would influence them to not want to sell it, because then they didn't do anything wrong in order to get in trouble. Or even putting no bail. If you get caught with drugs on you, or caught with it's called as possession, or you can be caught in the process of dealing drugs, and you could get arrested and then go to court, and the judge wouldn't give you bail, which I'm pretty sure is called remand, which is when you have to be stuck in court until the court date where you're tried. Now, I think that's a good idea, because one, you can't post money and get out right away and go back to doing it. Two, you get to sit in jail and think about what you did. Now, not many people would do that. All they care about is getting out. But if you don't get bail, you're just stuck sitting in a cell till your next court date. And then, if you get caught and you go to jail, I would make the sentences even longer, because the longer time someone's in there, maybe the less time you would want to start doing it again once you get out. So it's one of those things where the more time you're spent not sulking, but being punished for it, would make you less likely to want to commit that crime. At least it would work for me. So it's just, I think that's what would work, because let's face it, people aren't going to want to volunteer themselves to go into a rehab facility. If a cop is out there and sees the suspicious activity and it happens to be drug dealing, then they arrest them, and that would be one less drug dealer on the street. And like I said, one person could end up getting hundreds to thousands of people addicted. So one less person on the street is better than one more person on the street doing this to other people. Like, who knows? Your parents could be maybe closet people doing drugs. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Like, you don't know. You look for the sign. You can look for signs like wigging out if the person doesn't get a certain save water. I don't know. I've never done drugs. So that's just my opinion. So I hope you liked it. Thanks.